Hi, everybody, and welcome on Valentine's Day, Wednesday, for today's live chapter reading. We have, let's begin, shall we? This whole section is talking about, for the most part, the tongue. My brethren, as we established many times in the Bible, James is referring to the people of God, meaning his brothers and sisters in Christ, but also referring to the Jews, because they would call their brethren, they would be referring to, their fellow Israelites. Okay, my brethren, let not many of you become teachers. In other words, don't have tons of teachers. Okay, now this is a warning against teachers. Listen to this. This is one of the passages why I was hesitant on becoming a teacher of the law. Let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment. Our judgment is going to be a lot stricter, okay, a lot harsher. In other words, we're held to a higher standard, okay? For we all stumble in many ways. We all stumble in many things, okay? If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle the whole body. Bridle, that means control the whole body. Okay. And here's where we see 1 Kings 8:46. Okay. So basically, if a person doesn't stumble at all, then he is a perfect man, which there is no perfect man, so everybody's going to stumble. And if he is a perfect man, he's going to also be able to control his entire body, every little bit of it. The only perfect man I ever knew was Jesus. Okay? Or I should say is Jesus, because Jesus is alive. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths. We put rods in horses' mouths. Now, this does not mean they stab a horse in the mouth. No. They take a piece of metal and they open the horse's mouth, and they stick it in between sideways, kind of like a stick going sideways. And so I think I might have to. So let me do it like this, just for a second. So hopefully you see. This would be how they would bridle the horse. Okay, that would be how they bridle it. It would be a piece of metal that would stick that way, and they would use that in order to. They would attach the reins to the horse in that part, okay? Little mama, you might want... Oh, never mind. I need to shut up. Anyway, so they put the reins in the horse's mouth. So, as the saying says, indeed we put bits in the horse's mouth that they may obey us in order to control them, right? So they put something in the mouth of the horse in order to attach the reins of the horse so that then they can grab the reins and use the reins to steer the horse or get the horse to obey. Okay? A way of controlling the horse, if you will. And we turn their whole body. In other words, you can take this little piece of reins, which is like strings or leather, basically coming off of the bit, right? And you can turn the horse to the left or to the right just by that little tiny thing that they have in their mouth. Okay? And this is where we see Psalms 32:9. Look as at ships. So look also to ships. Although they are so large, right? Ships are large, and they are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder. So if you ever looked at the rudders of boats, the rudders of boats are so tiny in comparison to the boat itself. Okay, the boat itself is huge. The boat itself it could be massive. And these little tiny things at the back of the boat is what's used to steer the boat in whatever direction it wants to go in. Okay. For me, this takes on the meaning of some of the smallest things can make the biggest impact. If you want to put it that way. Some of the smallest changes can bring some of the smallest decisions can bring the biggest changes. Okay? So the rudder turns. They are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot desires. Okay? The pilot is who's in control. If God is control of you, then you have to be bridled with a bit of obedience, and then you have to give the reins to God and say, God, steer me how you want. Okay? Although they are so large, we read that one. Even so, the tongue is a little tiny member of the body, and it boasts great things. For something so small in your body, it has the power to do massive good or massive damage. Okay? And it boasts great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. Okay? So there's 4 verses, 4 verses dropped here, 2 in Psalms and 2 in Proverbs. Okay? So 2 in Psalms, 2 in Proverbs. Okay, if 2 in Psalms and 2 in Proverbs. But look at how large a forest is, and look how much damage a tiny little fire can do to a forest. If someone starts a tiny little fire in that forest, that tiny little fire can spread and burn down the entire forest. That's how dangerous your tongue can be. Okay? And the tongue is a fire. The tongue is a fire. The tongue is a fire. A world of iniquity. Okay? So the essence what we need to discover is what is iniquity. Right? What is iniquity? So let's look at the word iniquity. Okay? Iniquity definition, okay, is immoral or grossly unfair behavior. Okay? So immoral means not having morals, or can also be related to unfair behavior. So din of iniquity is a din. So a din of iniquity is a group of unfair behavior. Another words for this would be wickedness, sinfulness, immorality, impropriety, vice, evil, sin, many other words. Okay? So that's iniquity. Iniquity. Okay? Anyway, the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. A world of bad behavior, if you will. Or it can be a world of good behavior, depending on how you use it. Okay? The tongue is also set among our members. Okay? So it's positioned as part of the body, that it defiles the whole body if it's uncontrolled. Okay? It will defile your whole body. How would I say this? Your tongue can corrupt every part of you. Through your tongue, you can be corrupted in your mind. You can be corrupted in your motives. You can be corrupted in your desires. You can be corrupted in your actions. All by your little tiny little tongue. Okay? And sets on fire the course of nature. And it is set on fire by hell. So when the tongue is used for harm, it is done so by hell. It is being led around by hell. So someone who doesn't control their mouth, they're in big trouble. I don't care how religious you think you are. If you can't control your mouth, you're in big trouble. Okay? For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. This is proven fact. We control animals. We want them to listen. We do this, we do this, we do this. We put them in cages. We bridle them. We control them. Okay? You have to control your mouth, just like it's a wild animal. Okay? But no man can tame the tongue. No man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. This is where we see Psalms 143. While we're waiting for that verse to pop up, if it hasn't, okay, Psalms 140, verse 3, let's examine this. If your tongue is a wild animal, right, and you get a wild animal as a pet, right, does that make the wild animal to where the wild animal is never going to attack you? No. There have been stories in the news of people who have made tigers and lions and alligators and snakes and all sorts of animals their pet, right? But this is still a wild animal. It still has that innate wild nature. So all it takes is the wrong moment, and boom, that animal's going to turn on you as if you're the enemy, okay? Tamed animals are like cats and dogs. They are tamed. They still will fight with you a little bit. They will still hiss at you, but they are tamed, okay? They're not going to turn and kill you, okay? A wild animal will kill you if given the opportunity, if it feels threatened, if it feels the need to kill you, it will kill you. There's no expectation about that, okay? A wild animal versus a tamed animal, okay? That's what it's talking about here, okay? So even though you can't, so it's basically saying your mouth is like a wild animal. It can be taught, right? It can be taught, but it can't be tamed. It can't be controlled to the point of 100% obedience, okay? And when we tie this with the other verse, that any man who claims to be religious but cannot bridle his mouth, his religion is useless, right? As well as the other verse, out of the mouth is what comes that defiles a person, right? Right? Out of the mouth is what defiles him. It's not what goes into man that defiles him, it's what comes out. Because what comes out, it comes from the heart. When you tie those with all of those verses, it gives a very detailed description, okay, that while you can't fully tame your mouth, you should endeavor, or you should push forward to try to control it as much as you can. It's full of deadly poison. It's full of hurt, pain, weapons that can use at any moment. Okay, we see this all throughout life. You're stupid. You're dumb. You're this. You're that. You're that. Cussing at you, yelling at you, calling you stupid, tearing you down. Right? We see this all the time. The mouth used as weapons. Okay, with it, we bless our God and Father. So with our mouth, we bless our God and Father, and with it, we curse men. We speak ill of men. We speak down of men. We tear men down. Oh, he's not a good person. He's dumb. He's stupid. Leave him alone. Whatever. You know. Right? And these people that we tear down who have been made in the image of God. Okay? And this is where we see 3 Genesis verses. Okay? Out of the same mouth proceeds blessings that we usually give to God and to people that we want. And then we also give curses out of that mouth. I curse you. Oh, not really necessarily saying I curse you or that I cuss, but more of with our mouth, we use it for good and evil. Just as a computer can be used for good and evil, right? A stove can be used for good and evil. A gun can be used to protect or to harm or to kill, right? You get the idea. A knife can be good for cooking, or it can be used for to kill somebody. You get the idea. Okay. My brethren, so my beloved family, if you will, these things ought not to be so. In other words, we should not be people that are double-minded. We should not be people that bless and then curse. Tear down one person, build up another. Bless God with our words, then tear down other people. Okay? We should not be that type of person. Okay? Does a spring send forth fresh water and then bitter water from the same opening? It's trying to use the idea of what a spring does, the type of water that spring pours out, to relate to you that you should only have one type of thing in you that you allow to exist. Okay, if you're going to be a spring for God, then the waters that you have should be clean and crisp and good waters, fresh water, and that fresh water should be blessings. Okay? Nope, I'm not answering you. Decline that call. Okay? So out of the spring should come fresh water. That fresh water should be blessings. You should not allow bitter water, which would be the cursing of your mouth, using your mouth for evil, to come out of you. Okay? Can a fig tree, my brethren, can a fig tree bear olives? Right? So fig tree is what? What does a fig tree bear? Figs, right? Can a fig tree bear something other than what it's made to bear? No. Right? Or does a grapevine, right, bear figs? No. Grapevine bears grapes, right? Thus no spring yields both salt water and fresh water. Think about it. No spring, no ocean has both salt and fresh water, right? You have bodies of water that are salty, then you have bodies of water that are fresh water. But you never have a body of water that is both salt and fresh water at the same time. It doesn't exist. Okay. Next part is talking about wisdom. Heavenly versus demonic wisdom. So you need to know the difference. Who is wise and understanding among you? Right? Let him show by good conduct. Let him show he's wise by his actions. That his works, that means what he does, is done in the meekness of wisdom, in the humbleness. Even though he's wise, he's humble. Those who are demonic wisdom, they lord their wisdom over other people. Oh, I know more than you. I'm much smarter than you. Oh my gosh, look at how many times I've been to college and I got all these degrees. Oh, prideful me. Meekness, lowness. But if you have bitter, that's bad tasting. Envy, that's jealousy. Okay? If you have bitter jealousy and self-seeking, that means you're seeking to please, gratify yourself, honor yourself, boast yourself, lift up yourself. If you're seeking yourself in your hearts, do not boast and lie about the truth. Do not boast and make yourself a liar of against the truth. Okay? Let me put it this way. Out of jealousy and out of self-seeking desires of the heart, a man can boast and thus lie about himself and about his relationship with the Lord. This type of wisdom that's being referred to here, okay, that's self-seeking and full of jealousy, this wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, right, passionate, and demonic. So passionate, listen to that should tell you that not all passions are from God. Some passions are from the devil. For where envy, wherever jealousy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there as well. Okay? So wherever jealousy and self-seeking is, you can also find confusion and all sorts of evil things in that same area. Okay? But the wisdom that is from above, from God, right, is first pure. It's holy, it's just, it's right, right? Then it's peaceful. Peaceable, not peaceful, peaceable. It endeavors to make peace with you, but not at the expense of sacrificing what God says. It never gives up what God says just to please you, okay? Just to make peace with you. It is gentle, right? It is willing to yield when it needs to. The word willing means it's capable of yielding, capable of submitting when it needs to. It's full of mercy and good fruits. Okay, it's full of mercy and good fruits. okay, without partiality, without favoritism, right, and without hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is I say one thing, I do another. Okay, I say I love God, but I show in my mouth I don't love God because I don't obey His commands, right? Or I say I'm a good person, but my actions would say otherwise. Okay, that's hypocrisy. Okay. Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Okay, and here's where we see Proverbs 11:18, which she just dropped. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of chapter 3. Very short chapter, not very long. That is the end of James chapter 3. Okay, so I hope you got some really good stuff out of it, even though it was short. Be blessed today. Be honored. Okay, and love the Lord your God and love others. Do the best you can. Okay. Time is short, and the Lord's going to be coming soon. So do the best you can. Thank you, guys, and be blessed.